and Justice, Mark Lemke, Steve Avery, Kent Merker, John Smoltz, Rafael Belliard, Jeff Blauser, Wohlers, the man on the mound now, Bobby Cox, the pitching coach Leo Mazzoni, because they were all here for the near misses in 91 and 92, and in the LCS against the Phillies in 93. Three outs away from the one thing they haven't achieved in half a decade, and a strike to Kenny Lofton.
This is the key hitter of the inning because he cannot stop Lofton from stealing a base if he happens to get on. So he needs to get Lofton out.
1-1. That's not just because of Lofton's speed, but because Wohlers' motion makes him easy to run on, even for a lesser base stealer than Lofton.
Yeah, he's almost the same as he is out of the windup, Joe. He's got that slow leg kick and delivery from the stretch.
The 1-1. Down and in. Thousands of people here trying to record almost any moment in this ninth inning for posterity. We see the flashbulbs popping all around the park as each pitch is delivered from Wohlers to Lofton. Just a few now, but as the pitch comes, there will be more. Blooper and foul ground. Belliard racing over, backhanded grab. That's why the batting average doesn't matter so much. That's why Cox wants him in the ninth. This, folks, does not presume that it ends here, but it's business that must be taken care of. This 1995 World Series game brought to you by the makers of Advil. Buick at your local dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. And Network NCI, how to get modern communications technology working for your business.
Well, again, for all those who wondered why he didn't pitch it with him for him early in the ballgame, this is why. He is their defensive specialist. He's the guy that he knows can make the plays under pressure. And that's why Bobby Cox said, I always hate to take Rafael Belliard out of the ballgame for a pinch hitter. And look at those numbers. One error in each of the last 3 seasons. That tells you how good he is defensively.
He booted his first chance in this series. Kenny Lofton, the leading off game 1 against Greg Maddux, but since then, he's sparkled. Mike Hargrove can't afford to leave his shortstop in. He'll send up Sorrento, a 25 home run man, hopeful that Wohlers makes a mistake, and Sorrento can tie it. Sorrento had a pinch hit double off Wohlers in game 4.
In watching Wohlers here, Joe, to the last couple of hitters, he did it on Lofton.
Yes.
And he starts Sorrento off with a breaking ball. I know this guy's got power, and he can probably hit you deep the other way, too, talking about to left. But I mean, with a guy like Wohlers, who we've said throws in that triple-digit area, I mean, to start a guy off bang-bang with a strike instead of the breaking ball, I'm a little surprised.
Well, remember, in this situation, you should always go with your best pitch.
And his best pitch is not a fastball.
Somebody's got to reach for Bell to have one more at-bat at least in this season. 1 out and nobody on in the 1-0 pitch.
He's got a great splitter, too. Fastball, curve, and a splitter, or slider and a splitter. But to establish yourself or get ahead on that guy is so awfully important. It's only a 1-0 game.
splitter and gets ahead 1-2.
That was it. And a good one it was. Bottom fell out of that baby. Here it is one more time. You can see it. Splitter down. Sorrento chases.
Center field. Grissom. Lots of room. One out away. The most feared offense in baseball all year long. Held to one hit through 8 2/3 by Glavine and Woolers. Held to a team batting average under 200 now in this World Series. Maybe. Is 0 for 3. Left center field. Grissom on the run. The team of the 90s has its World Championship. Still filling out the pitching chart, but now there is no tomorrow. Over the full season, there's little doubt the Cleveland Indians were the best team in baseball in 1995. But for a week in October, the edge belonged to the Atlanta Braves. They have been baseball's best team over the last 5 years. And finally, the one missing piece is in place. Golden season it was for the people in that dugout and in the visiting clubhouse tonight in Atlanta. But all the joy for now is on the home side. Still, there's no overlooking what the Cleveland Indians did, not just in terms of performance, but in the spirit of that whole city. They're part of the renaissance of the city of Cleveland, with their new ballpark, with their contending team, with the way that town feels about them, and with the pieces in place, every reason to expect they've got a good chance to be back. But tonight belongs to the Atlanta Braves.
Alec, it's sad when you look at players on the losing club. It always boils down to one game. I mean, the final game. And on the loser's side, as you look at Tavares, who did such a great job for the Indians this year, gets down to this game. Sitting alongside Carlos Baerga, but as Joe well knows, and fans, you can take into consideration what they've done here tonight and how they responded. This win belongs to the players for the immediate moment, Joe, in the clubhouse.
That's exactly right. Yes, that says it all right here, finally. And I think that's what the Cleveland Indians, the way they have to look at this. Very rarely does a team go out and win in their first attempt in the World Series. Let's face it, the Braves, this is their third time in before they've been able to win. And I think the Cleveland Indians, it may take them another time at least before they feel the joy of victory in the World Series.
And David Justice, who earlier had chided the fans here for not being enthusiastic and passionate enough, how ironic that he would deliver the home run of the sixth inning, the only run of the game, and now he and his teammates are awash in this celebration, which sounds pretty loud to me. They were ready tonight. 52,000 plus in Atlanta, and millions more all around the Southeast, and in fact, all around the country, because the Braves have many fans in far-flung places because they're on a superstation. They, like the Cubs, have a national following. Well, here's the story. We have plenty of time to visit both locker rooms, and we'll do that as we return to the 1995 World Series after this from your local stations. Hannah Storm is in the Atlanta Braves clubhouse. Let's head down there. Hannah?
Bob, it is a celebration befitting a team that has waited 30 years in the city, and the last 5 years, perhaps the longest. Team owner Ted Turner here. Ted, you owned this team when it was one of the worst in baseball.
That's right.
And you know, perhaps more than many others, just how tough it is to get this World Series win. How gratifying is this?
Very difficult.
How gratifying is this experience?
Very much so.
Ted, a man of few words, and since he's so direct, we're going to get right to the point. We have Acting Commissioner Bud Selig here, National League President Leonard Coleman to present the World Series trophy.
Ted, on behalf of all the major league clubs, I want to present to you the Commissioner's Trophy. You guys have built a great organization. On behalf of everybody, to you and to Bill Bartholomew, Stan Kasten, Bobby Cox, John Charles, everybody, congratulations, guys. You have a magnificent season, and you deserve it. Okay, thank you a lot. Thank you a lot. I just want to say we love baseball a lot, and we worked hard, and we deserve it. And we're going to enjoy it.
As well you should. Bobby Cox, why don't you come over here? Bobby, another easy win for you, pal.
No, never easy, but this is really for Ted and the fans. It's, you know, they've stuck by this organization, this franchise a long time, and we've been close before, but we finally got it. That's due to ownership, really.
Bobby, what was the difference this time? You came so close before, and all of the teams that you had very talented.
We could have won them all. We could have lost tonight. Sometimes it's just a flip of the coin. We could have scored 4 or 5 runs tonight, more than we didn't. You know, we didn't have much luck, but Dave Justice got the big hit. Tommy, you know, just outstanding.
Okay, we'll hear more from Tom Glavine in a moment, but Bobby, we got a phone call for you. The nation's most famous sports fan, perhaps, I believe we have on the line. Mr. President?
Mr. President. Hello. This is Bobby Cox. Can't hear very well.
We're having a little bit of trouble with our connection, and we will get back to the President. Okay, Bobby?
Say 1 moment.
Okay, he's saying 1 moment, so we'll wait on that. We have a lot of other business to take care of. You mentioned the game that Tom Glavine pitched, and with you straining all the base runners, he was forced to pitch an almost perfect game.
Well, he did pitch a perfect game. The only hit they got was a blooper by Pena in right center. And Tommy was completely exhausted after 8 innings. He couldn't go another hitter or another pitch. And, you know, a guy throwing that great, you want him to go back out there, but he just couldn't. It's been a long year, and appropriately so, Mark Wohlers closed it. Started and did it.
Can you describe your emotions emotions after the losses, the near misses of the last few years?
Well, it's something you can't get back. You really want to win bad, and our players from the day one of spring training wanted to win this thing. That was their goal, and they finally achieved it.
What did the series come down to in the end? Was it the best pitching staff in baseball against the best hitter?
Definitely pitching. Tommy Glavine and Maddox, Avery, Smoltzy had a little bit of a rough game, but they all proved that. We shut down a great hitting team. We shut down Cincinnati. Just as good a hitting team as this, can outrun them.
How much pressure was this on their team? Everyone expected you to be here, and sometimes that's the tougher position to be in.
Oh, that's okay. You know, if they keep expecting us to be here, that means we're pretty darn good. So we'll take that.
Bobby Cox, congratulations.
Thanks so much. It's great. Thank you.
Okay, and at this point, we will come over here and speak with Dave Justice, the lone man, to get a run in this game. And Dave, what an incredible day for you as you wake up, see the headlines in the paper that Justice rips the Atlanta fans, and then you lead this team to its first ever World Series victory.
Yeah, but first thing I want to say is I really appreciate our fans really showed our team a lot of support tonight. It was something we really needed, and they were the biggest factor tonight. They were the ones that kept us going, and I just want to thank them all for all the support tonight.
Tell us about the home run. We saw you talking to Ryan Klesko in the dugout, and you said, hey, it was this high. Pitch wasn't quite that high. Tell us about it.
Well, it was a situation where I wasn't going to swing any curveballs because I saw he hadn't thrown really any curveballs that would have been called strikes. So I was looking for a fastball to 2 strikes, and he got one inside. I just stayed on it nicely, and when I hit it, I knew I got it.
Dave, you have been through the 2 World Series losses with this team. Can you put into context to what you and the others who have been here for the last few years, what this must mean to you?
Yes, I can. This is a dream come true. We worked so hard since 1991 to get to this point. We came up short twice, and it is such a great feeling. I mean, it's everything that we dreamed of. It's everything that we worked so hard for, and I just feel so good for our team, our organization, and it's just a wonderful feeling.
This team knew that a 3-2 lead was no sure thing after playing the Twins in '91 when you went to the Metrodome and lost the last 2 games of the series. Was there, because of that experience, an extra sense of urgency tonight not to take this to a 7th game?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was really nervous coming into today simply because I've been in a situation before where we were up 3-2 and only to lose. So it was a really nerve-wracking day for me. I'm telling you, I don't know how I made it through today. I'm serious. I've never felt so much pressure. In my life as I felt today, but it all turned out great.
I know that you're a believer in fate. This team is talented, as were the 2 teams that lost the World Series. Is fate the only difference? Was it your time to win, or were the teams different?
You know, I really think it was our time to win. Too many things happened in our favor this year that I really had a good feeling that this is our time. I didn't know if it was going to be tonight or tomorrow night, but I really felt like it was our time. We had put in enough work, we had suffered enough, and it was time for our city and for our ball club and for this organization to get one.
Okay, congratulations, David Justice. And now, for a word from the Cleveland locker room, we go to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you, Hannah. Mike Hargrove joins us. Mike, what can you say about Tom Glavine?
Well, you know, what can you say about their whole pitching staff? They have very good pitching as they exhibited in this series, and you know, when you pitch like that, you should win.
What did you tell your team? You met for about 10 minutes there behind closed doors.
Just told them that you know they played well and that they're champions. Maybe not the champions of what we wanted to be, but they're American League champions. I think that we represented our peers in the American League with a lot of dignity, and we played hard, and that they should feel good about that, and that it starts again in about 3.5 months.
Is there anything that you would do differently over the course of these games? You finished with 5 one-run games. You can't get much closer, but is there anything you'd like to have over and do differently?
Maybe the only thing that I would do differently is pitch out. First pitch to Belliard. All my instincts said to pitch out, and I talked myself out of it. But you know, that didn't get us beat. You know, they pitched well, and they got the hits when they needed them, and we didn't. I mean, pure and simple. We pitched well enough to win. I thought that our guys pitched very well tonight, and really throughout this series, it just didn't work for us, and those things happen in this game. That's why it's a contest.
And how would you describe the group inside? Is this being taken as a tough loss or a learning experience, a little bit of both?
Yeah, I think any time that you get into this situation, that you know, I mean, if you've got anything inside you at all, it's a tough loss. But they also feel good about who they are and what they've done this year, and the prospects of maybe getting back here sometime. Nobody ever guarantees that. We've got to go out and dedicate ourselves, to use all the cliches, and get ready to do it again. And at least we'll have a say in that. We've got the talent to do it again. Hopefully we can, but we'll find that out later.
Finally, Mike, to the fans back home. They waited a long time for a World Series. You come up short, but you have something to say to them.
Well, the fans are what makes this whole thing special. The fans here in Atlanta were fired up tonight. It was good to see that. It really was, because it was a little subdued, I thought, the first two games in here, and I was very surprised at that being that the way it was. But our fans in Cleveland are tremendous fans. They can hoot with the best of them. They're good people. They get excited, and they really helped this ball club do what it did.
Mike, you're a class act. You've had a great year. We appreciate you coming out.
Well, it's been fun. We'll do it again, hopefully.
All right, we look forward to it. Let's go back across the way to Hannah Storm.
Jim, Mike Hargrove had the best hitting team in baseball, but they were no match for the Atlanta Braves pitching staff. And fittingly, the man who won Game 2 and Game 6 will be presented the MVP trophy by Jeff Hurlburt of Chevrolet. Jeff?
Tom, on behalf of Chevrolet and Chevrolet dealers across the country, we're very proud to present with you the Chevrolet World Series Most Valuable Player Trophy. And in addition, we're pleased to donate to the Special Olympics in your name a 1996 Astrovan. Congratulations on a fantastic series.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Tommy, we were just standing here while Jim was talking to Mike Hargrove. You had a little bit of tear in your eye, and you said you can hardly believe this has happened.
Well, I can't. I mean, this has been a long time coming. This organization, these group of guys have worked so hard to get here, and we've come up short. And that bitterness of losing these World Series games is real fresh in everybody's mouth. And this was a battle. This was no easy thing. The Indians played great, and we knew coming in here it was going to be a tough series. But everybody in here did what we needed them to do. And if I could cut this thing up into 25 pieces, everybody in here deserves it, because it took a total team effort for us to win this thing.
The Braves had some clutch hitting in this series, but not tonight. They stranded a lot of base runners, and you had to pitch almost a perfect game.
Well, it's frustrating, I guess, as a pitcher, because when you see opportunities go by, you kind of wonder if you can keep doing what you're doing, number one, and if that's going to be the difference in the game. But I just tried to go out there and go as long as I could. And it's funny, because I told somebody yesterday a perfect scenario would be for me to get the win, David to get a big hit, and Wohlers to get the save, and it couldn't have worked out any better.
Happy ending for you, Tom Glavine. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's send it back up to Bob Costas now.
And a great sense of closure for the Atlanta Braves, not just winning it, but the way they won it, with Glavine on the mound. He struck out 8 tonight. He's been with them through all the near misses. In fact, with them longer continuously than any member of their present roster. And he's the MVP and the winning pitcher of Game 6. We told you there were 8. Count them. That was the last one from Albert Bell. And all the offense, it turned out, that Glavine and Wohlers, who worked the ninth, needed this home run by David Justice. It turns out, from the perspective of Brave fans, justice prevails, literally and figuratively. They had several cracks at it. Finally, they won it all. Back for more in a minute.
We're back in the great clubhouse, and I'm happy to say we have established communication with the President of the... Happy to say that we have reestablished communication with the President of the United States, even though I'm having trouble communicating on my mic, so...
So, what do we do?
So he's gonna...
I'm on the phone. You there? Well, thanks a lot. I'm sorry they made you hold so long, but that wasn't me. I wouldn't have had the commercial break there. Did you watch the game? Oh, I sure did. I watched it all. Well, that's great. We wish you were here. Wonderful game. Well, thank you, sir. Wonderful World Series. Well, thanks a lot. It was, the boys did real great. Well, thanks a lot. All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks for calling, Mr. President, and we will talk to you at the Super Bowl. Goodbye. And meanwhile, we are going to send it over to Jim Gray.
Thank you, Hannah. I'm with Kenny Lofton. It's a distraught, as you can expect, Cleveland locker room. Kenny, the pitching for the Atlanta Braves was just sensational. What about Tom Glavine tonight? Was he the entire difference?
Yeah, he was. He pitched a good game, and we just didn't go out there and do our jobs, and they won the game.
Seems as though you had better success in the second game against Tom Glavine, game 2. This the second time. Didn't seem as though you guys were able to get on track like you were with Maddox.
It's just one of those things that happen. You just can't get on track with a certain guy, and it just didn't work out.
You guys had an awfully terrific season. You won 100 games, and you expected to win this thing, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We had the attitude to go out there and win, and we just... At first, we had a couple bumpy roads, and, they had the home field advantage, and that the first 2 games were very important, and they had the home field advantage, and they took advantage of it.
Can you begin to describe the disappointment? You ever felt anything like this before?
No, I haven't. It hasn't really sunk in yet, but it's going to sink in pretty soon.
Kenny, it's awful good of you to come out. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, man.
Let's go back across the way to the Braves locker room and Hannah Storm.
Jim, the best hitting team in baseball, the Cleveland Indians, hit a paltry 179 against the Braves pitching staff in this series, and here are 2 of the reasons. Greg Maddux and closer Mark Wohlers, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Greg, you managed to completely shut down an incredible hitting team.
Well, we had great scouting reports. Our coaches really took care of us this year. They gave us some great advice, and when you do that and make your pitches, sometimes it looks a little bit easier than it is.
You were not here for 2 of the World Series losses, and yet you were such an integral part of allowing this team to get back to the World Series.
Well, I'm just glad to be a part of it. We got a lot of great players on this team, and it was a total team effort. Everybody clutched up. I mean, there's not one guy I could think about that didn't help us get here, and it's just a great team effort.
Can you comment on Tom Glavine's performance tonight?
He was outstanding. Best game ever, best game I ever seen him pitch, and probably the great timing. I tell you what, I'm glad he's my teammate. I really am.
Is there a sense that you wish that you could have done it on Thursday night? There has to be.
Well, I think you always want to win, the first chance you get, but I think it's great for Tom. I think he really went through a lot, especially early in the season, and he came up through the organization. I think it's great that he did what he did for the city.
And I know what you're referring to is the fact that he was the Braves player representative. He took a lot of heat during the strike negotiations. He was booed here early on. You're one of his best friends. How did that affect him, and how gratifying do you think this win is for him now?
Well, one thing about Glav is he's got a big heart. He really does. Here he goes, Squiggy.
Okay, guys.
He's got a huge heart,
right.
And he showed it tonight. I'm real happy for him. I really am.
Okay, thanks. Let's get Mark Wohlers in here, because Mark, a big difference between the 2 teams who lost in the World Series and now is that they do have a dominant closer in you. How special is it for you to know what a huge role you played in this team's World Series success?
It's just not myself. We've had 5 guys pitching in front of me all year that have given me the opportunity to do what I do. And if you're pitching out of the bullpen, unless you have an S by your name, you really don't get the recognition. But this bullpen came up big for the whole series. With the Atlanta Braves coming over to win a World Championship with our current bullpen.
And how difficult was it for you at the end of the game tonight, knowing what was at stake? How did you put that out of your mind?
Well, you just try to concentrate. Maddux gave me advice early in the year how to, just concentrate on each pitch and worry about each pitch, and that's the only thing you really can worry about. So I just try to focus on each pitch and really not worry about the results. If the ball leaves my hand, I really have no control.
All right, congratulations, Mark. Let's get to the champagne dumpers over there. Well, at least a couple of these guys were there back in '91. Mark Lemke and Steve Avery. Can you describe what this means to the franchise? What your emotions are at this point?
Right now, this is the most incredible thing I ever felt in my life. All those guys, we came a long way together. We've been through some tough times in this organization, but we pulled together, and we finally accomplished a dream and a goal of ours that we set a long time ago.
And Steve Avery, you struggled this season, but you got a chance to pitch, and you pitched so well in the World Series. How gratifying was that?
Oh, man, it's great. I mean, this is the time of year that everyone wants to go out and do well for not only themselves, but their teammates. And, I'm just so happy for Tommy and the way he pitched tonight. For all these guys standing up here, I almost kissed Lemke. I was so happy, and then someone sprayed me champagne and woke me up.
Is that the lipstick on your neck of Mark Lemke? Okay, well, we won't give that away. And finally, Fred, you've been such a huge part of this team and a huge element in the World Series, a huge element in the playoffs, getting them to the World Series.
Oh, yeah, it's great to see these guys. I mean, they've been taking a lot of heat from the Buffalo Bills and little stuff like that. To see them all get us over the hump, no greater feeling.
How do you think the team will remember this, history will remember this team, which accomplished so much in the 90s and yet could not win it all? Will they be remembered differently now that they have?
Oh, yes. Now that they won a World Series and so forth, they'll be considered one of the great teams. You got to win that World Series to get over the hump.
Was there a sense among the players that you had to have this victory to validate your success in the 90s?
No, not really. I mean, nobody gives the Blue Jays and the Twins credit for beating the Braves in 91, 92. You got to give them some credit. This
this is a great ball club. I mean, they came a little short in the past, but now, get it.
How difficult was it for you guys playing this season, and then as the playoffs began to advance further into the playoffs, as you get closer and closer to that elusive World Series, knowing that people expected you to win, was there pressure?
Oh, every night when we go out and play, the pressure's there. Every year they pick the Braves to win it all, and so every night you're going out there knowing that you got to do it, and they got an extra round of playoffs this year. We got to open up in Colorado. It was tough, and then playing the Reds did everything they could to try to knock us out. Then we got to play the Indians, who won 100 games this year.
What was the difference in the series finally?
Marco Wohlers was the whole difference in the year. The first part of the year, we didn't really have a closer. We're struggling playing under 500 ball. Wohlers steps in as a closer, and ever since then, we've been on a roll.
Okay, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
It'll be a nice fall for the Atlanta Braves. Let's send it back up now to Bob Costas.
Hannah, thanks a lot. Nice duty under duress in the locker room. Tom Glavine, one of the heroes tonight. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Tom Roy. The coordinating producer of the Baseball Network, John J. Filippelli. Coordinating producer and producer of the World Series for NBC Sports, John Gonzalez. The World Series was directed by Andy Rosenberg. Vice President of Operations for the Baseball Network, Ed Delaney. Producer for the Baseball Network, Lance Garrett. Pre-game producer, Sam Flood. Replay producer, Steve Lawrence. Associate producers, Woody Fryman and Jeff Kibler. Editorial consultant, Peter Pasquarelli. Director of Information, Steve Hurt. Production associates, Carlos Di Molina and Chris Pfeiffer. Technical director, Phil Doucette. Coordinating production manager, Russ Gabay. Production managers, Bill Cantor, Steve Hearns, Bill Melanson, and Suzanne Turner. And a mention of our audio man, Mario Sperandio. He and his wife Linda found out today they're expecting their first child. Well, 5 of the 6 games in this World Series decided by a single run. And I think something should be said, Uke, about Mike Hargrove and the Cleveland Indians. Hargrove, in talking with Jim Gray, showed again his personal class.
Well, he really did, and along with Kenny Lofton, who came out and talked with Jim, it's no place to be. I mean, for those of us who have been fortunate enough, Bob, to be on a World's Champion, nobody will ever know the thrill until you've been there. And I don't even think these players are going to realize what's happened maybe until tomorrow. And over the winter, when you think back about the World Series and what great games these were. But you know, the greatest part of this whole thing is going to come next year, right here in Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, when the championship rings are awarded. When each one of these guys on this ball club grabs himself a ring that says World's Champions with your name, your number, and whatever else is on there, that's the greatest feeling in the world. I know he's been there too.
You know, Joe, the Atlanta Braves can be the first to tell the Cleveland Indians that sometimes you've got to go to the brink and fall just short before you get there. Trite as it may sound, nothing to be ashamed of. Disappointed now, hurt now, yes. But what a glorious season for the Indians.
Well, I think the Cleveland Indians really showed me something, and that is that they almost matched the Atlanta Braves pitching staff. But when you match up against the Braves, usually you lose if your pitching staff is against theirs. And I have to say, as far as I'm concerned, the Atlanta Braves, as good as they were during the regular season, their pitching staff raised themselves another notch. When I saw how they destroyed the Cincinnati Reds, who were a good hitting ball club, I really felt like the Cleveland Indians were going to have a problem with it as well. But to Cleveland's credit, their pitching staff, with Earl Hershiser, Martinez, and the like, they almost matched the Atlanta Braves. This was a great World Series, and I'm happy that I was a part of it.
Both these teams are deep enough, have enough resources within their organizations that they have every expectation that the second half of the 90s will be good to them as well.
Oh, absolutely, Bob. I mean, as Joe said, to watch the fans in Cleveland, the thrill of a World Series finally, and let me say something to you, it's been great working with you.
Thanks for the ride, pal.
And Joe, you too, buddy.
Good to work with you.
Enjoyed it.
A strange and, in a sense, scarred baseball season ends in glory. There were great moments in the postseason for these two guys, for the folks at ABC, too. Good night.